Welcome to episode 197 of the No Clue Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Tyler.
I'm Mike.
Welcome back. Our last podcast of 2022.
Yes.
Happy
Merry
New Year to
Christmas.
everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays to everyone. Um, so football season. It's about that time. Was 2 games left.
Yeah.
2 games left. Playoff picture is pretty much there. And Broncos decided to fire a bunch of coaches. How do you feel about that?
I, I mean, they had to do something.
Yeah,
The year was horrible.
atrocious.
Uh, their head coach, like, normally I'd kind of look at it as like the players should take more responsibility. Well, one player in particular.
Hmm.
Uh, but the coach in key situations
Hmm.
often looked inept.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
early in the year, before anybody even realized how trash Russ was, and in hindsight, maybe it was a good decision. But like you
Hmm.
just signed the quarterback, and first game you trust the kicker over him
Yeah.
for 60 yards. Like for a guy who's never made a 60-yard field goal.
Yeah, and just so happens they fire their special teams coordinator and
Understandable.
their offensive line coach, which I feel like all those are all like the smoke screens to the big problem. It's like we have one major problem, but everything else that might be a problem, let's fire everybody that has to deal with the possibility of it, our
Yes.
being our special teams choices, whether it be our offensive line. So, and then let's fire the
And
head coach. So,
this is a teaching moment. This is a valuable learning experience because this kind of shows how important quarterbacks are.
mhm.
For when you see these guys getting paid, when Kyler gets paid 200 million, when all these guys are when Dak gets paid however many million he got,
Yeah,
look at what happens when you get it wrong.
yeah,
Look at how they're like, to your point, it's like we're trying not to address the elephant in the room.
yep,
Like,
yeah,
oh, it must be the coaching. Oh, the line must not be protecting the quarterback. Oh, our
right.
special teams, they're not doing anything right. Like
Yeah, the special teams doesn't look great because we're going three and out, 60
all the
yards from the
time.
like, yeah, we don't get good kicks. We don't get good field
Bro,
position. So
what
obviously
does it
special teams,
matter if
right?
I have the best coach in the league if my quarterback is not seeing the field?
Ask the Patriots.
That's a whole other story.
I
But
mean, but they're dealing with a similar thing, and they've went through what 3 quarterbacks this year, just rotating in and out.
yeah, but
And
they're at least competent,
yeah, they're competent. Yeah.
which I guess like based off this Christmas game,
Hmm.
the offensive line essentially quit.
Yeah.
So like that, I understand their coach getting fired, but the
Hmm.
defense quit, and that was the bright spot all year.
Yeah, and that was the bright spot for the last 3 years. I mean, for a while they've been saying, "Hey, the defense is really good. If they can just get their offense together, they can just get a new quarterback. If they
Yeah,
can just get some weapons, the defense has been the one thing that they have been hanging their hat on."
and it's been like the games have been so close, even though Russell has been like abysmal.
Yeah.
Their first 10 games, they had so many overtime loss, like one possession loss. And it was all
Yeah.
Russell Wilson being horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, they're early in the year, Melvin Gordon was fumbling the ball. What did they
Hmm.
do? They cut his ass, so they waived him.
Yep.
He can't do that with the quarterback. But make no mistake, Russell Wilson has been horrible enough that he should have got benched like a month ago.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, absolutely
Just
right.
I'm nervous for the next coach that comes in, whoever that is.
I would imagine it's not a job that coaches are begging to, you know, people with who have been looking for opportunity are probably not dying to get this opportunity. Not looking to be interviewed here.
I keep coming back to it with Denver, man. Like, what the GM, the quarterback, Elway, like,
Mhm.
one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. How is
Yeah.
he this inept at picking quarterbacks?
It's you know, we had similar
Insane.
issues with the NBA when solid point guard coaches go and don't have any point guard on the team. It's like, what are you this is you should know this. And
Yeah.
coaches, man, I mean, with the NFL, it's just there. It's really not even that hard. It's the obvious one position that you have to have someone that knows what they're doing, or at least
Bro, like,
really, really wants to win.
and these organizations are so, I don't even have a better word for it besides cringe, by cycling through coaches and like
Hmm.
not really looking at their quarterback.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
yeah, yeah. Um, it's rough, man. Broncos in a really, really rough spot. I'm not
Oof.
sure where they go from here. Even if they got a new quarterback, which they really can't because they pay Wilson so
A
much. But
lot of money.
I don't even. I have no idea what their next decision could be that would help them. I don't know how they get better at this point, but he just has to get better, and that's the hard part. At his age, to put the pressure on him to come
Yeah.
back next year as another guy, and you know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Bro, if I'm Nate Hackett,
Hmm.
man, anytime they ask me about family, friends, ask me about coaching, that 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 scrub Russell Wilson threw away my career, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not saying every decision I made was right, but I promise you, we spent weeks working on our offense. We did not prepare to come out and be inept offensively every night.
yeah. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way you take the heat if you're in that position. No way. Yeah. Um. Okay. Moving on. Uh. What else we have in the NFL?
Staying in the same division,
Hmm.
another team that's imploded, the Raiders.
Oh, the Raiders. Team we
God,
both had a lot of confidence in early in the season. Well, but preseason, I should say, not early in the season. Preseason, we both um had high hopes for this team. And it just
God, it's such a disappointment, honestly.
they had like one highlight all season, like one like good, really solid game. And they're like, oh, okay, that's what we've been waiting for. But then the rest of the season has been a disaster.
You know who
Weapons
their
haven't.
their early of the year, their only two wins were against the Broncos, I'm pretty sure.
That's really, really bad.
And
That's not
they
surprising,
beat
but
somebody else too. I think maybe the Texans, like somebody else that sucked.
yeah, they and all the things that we praised them for coming into the season just got worse and worse and worse as the season went on.
Man. And I look weird defending Derek Carr because he was bad this year.
Hmm.
But the fact that he's essentially getting kicked to the curb while Russell Wilson is just destroying a franchise from within is sick to me.
I
Bro, I
mean,
can you remember a number of weeks ago, there was this big moment in one of the post games where he was crying, or Carr was crying,
yeah,
essentially like calling out like whoever's not bought in, like that's on you, like we're all in, we're trying to figure it out.
yeah, yeah.
Honestly, that to me saves your coach's job.
It does. It
Because
does.
one of the premier guys is kind of vouching that we're trying to figure it out. It's not a lost cause like the Broncos, who are fighting on
Yeah.
the field every game.
Yeah.
So, but the situation just spiraled so out of control. He kept it together, and now it's his fault.
Mm. Um, the thing is, they're out of playoff contention, right?
I think they have to win out, and like three other teams have to lose out.
They're out of playoff.
No, they are. But it's not like they're like onto the lot, like we're now fighting for a draft pick.
Oh no, they're not that bad. No, but I'm saying at this point, maybe they say, "Hey, it's over. Let's just see how this looks with somebody else out there. Let's do something different because obviously this year has been trash, and they lost some really bad games, man. The
Oh, that
Colts,
Arizona loss early in the year. Remember they were up like 20-0.
yeah, that was like the second game of the season.
Oh, that was so bad.
Oh, they lost to the Colts.
Oh,
The Colts
the
game was
first
bad.
game. Jeff Saturday's
Yeah,
first game. Oh God. Oh, that
yeah,
was the
yeah,
worst loss of the year, hands down, for anyone.
yeah. Lost to the Rams by one. Lost to the Steelers by a field goal. It's just, man, it's bad. It's such a bad season.
Stafford couldn't even throw the ball and they beat them.
Yeah,
Man, that's wow.
yeah. So I don't know, man. I know I get what you mean. It does suck that it's on Carr, but beginning of the season, Carr was the one who was like, what is
Right.
going on? He can't have a better set of weapons. He really can't. Like,
No,
he doesn't
honestly,
have.
you remember when your boy Dable was chewing out Daniel Jones for like throwing a bad interception?
Yeah,
There was like week 3 or 4, there was a game when Devontae had like one target.
yeah.
I
We
would have
talked
like
about it.
by fourth quarter, I'm chewing him out I'm chewing out Derek Carr on the sideline.
Yeah, there was multiple games where he had like some of the least amount of targets in the offense, and it's just what do we do with that?
Right.
Um, so yeah, man, it is unfortunate that it's on Carr, but this team is just way too good to not do better this season. And I mean, and the thing is, it's a statement, but big scheme of things, if he sits and who's the backup for them? Do you know?
Jared Stidham.
Oh, Stidham, yeah. If he sits and Stidham goes out there and throws for 20 touchdowns, Stidham's not starting next season. It doesn't change anything. That's why to me it's not necessarily putting it on Carr. It's almost just like we just need something fresh for now. It's over. Let's
I
just sit
mean,
this out.
again, I can't defend some of the bad games he's had,
Yeah.
but to me, this wasn't a solution in any way. Because like you
It's not
said,
a
Stidham
solution,
is
no.
not going to be your quarterback next year. So
Right.
this whole explanation that the coach gave that we're trying to look at the like a young guy. No, you're
Yeah.
not.
That's false. Yeah.
It's not
That's
like the
definitely false.
Packers with Jordan Love where they'd actually look at him.
Right. And
Stidham
it would
already has
be a complete
established that he
change.
sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And the offense wouldn't change that much. Yeah, it would be a different quarterback, but it wouldn't be completely
Right.
a complete shift of like how you play. Jordan Love would be a complete shift of how the Packers play. They couldn't play the
Right.
same way at all. But yeah, that's BS. Him doing that was BS because we know Carr is their quarterback unless they trade him, but we know Stidham is not their quarterback
Yeah,
no matter
and we
what.
know it's because they don't want him to get hurt
Yeah,
because that's the only way they'd have to pay him the full contract.
right.
So like it's such an odd the details of the situation are right there. Like just be honest about it.
Yeah,
Again,
yep,
Jared Stidham, like who, really? That's who we're turning to as we're evaluating the young guys.
right.
That's
Yeah.
trash, bro. How about the fact that your defense is horrible all the time?
Yeah, it is. It is.
You blaming Derek Carr that y'all can't beat Kansas City, but your defense is giving up 30 plus points all the time.
Yeah. Like that makes a
Everyone who
difference in
plays the
Kansas City.
Raiders looking like Patrick Mahomes.
So far. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Bro, they had that Jeff Saturday game. Matt Ryan was looking like Lamar Jackson.
yeah. Tannehill had like one of his best games of the season against
Yes,
them too.
yes.
Yeah. 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 Tannehill like made the Titans more sure of his future with them out of nowhere, just because how he played against them. So
Yeah.
uh we'll see what happens with them. Next season, hopefully they come in with a better attitude. The one thing that is worrisome about Carr's outbursts, not outbursts, but what he said about, the team buying in and stuff. If he wants the team to buy in, or there's this game plan that the team isn't, you know, uh, executing because they're just not feeling what the coach is saying, or they're not feeling how Carr is leading them, that could be even worse, a worse look at Carr because, like, man, did you lose have you lost the locker room, the leadership? Do we not have your leadership anymore? Because if guys aren't responding to the strategy that you want them to do, or this mentality you're trying to instill in them, um,
I again,
that's
I'm
something
with
that could
you.
be
I'm with you if
dangerous.
it was Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron got
Yeah,
this like history of odd behavior and kind of he's having issues with the organization. Carr has always been a team first guy. He's like,
yeah,
oh, he took all the bullets of last year's disaster.
yeah,
I mean, and they were all disaster last year. And he took
right,
all of that. He's taken so much criticism from all his coaches not liking him, taken all of that. He's played at a high level. Again, it's not
yeah,
like he's a bum.
right.
They're turning away from him like again without any options. That's why I don't understand. You still mathematically have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Packers. They won a couple games. They're feeding off the momentum. They're like at least trying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
understand why you don't try in this situation. I
yeah,
think
I
they are
agree.
playing Kansas City, so your chances aren't great,
Yeah, yeah,
but at
but
least try.
yeah, if your team really wants to try, if Carr really wants to try, I agree. I think they should try, but um, I also get how they feel about it, especially going through the emotional roller coaster they went through this season with, oh,
I don't know, man.
do we actually suck? Oh, was it just a bad game? Was it just a bad run? Oh, maybe we need a new quarterback, maybe we need a new coach, all that other stuff. So, and they
Did
do
you
have a new coach,
see? Did you see
but
that Devontae said like if it wasn't for a car, I wouldn't be here.
yeah,
Like,
multiple times.
bro, that to me just kind of speaks to Carr's character.
Yeah, it could speak
That there's
to um his last leader's character too, though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
That's
it's it's an odd situation, but
it
the
is.
the fact that they don't have a fix or they're not really like going in a fixable direction
Yeah,
makes this move look like a blatant scapegoat.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, you're right. Um, see anything else NFL?
No, nothing pressing that comes to mind.
Yeah, me either. Me either. We'll talk playoffs next week. Uh,
Yeah, AFC big game this weekend. Bengals Bills.
yeah, Monday, right?
I think so.
It's,
Yeah, I'm excited for that
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Huge game. That's probably the best game for the rest of the season.
Oh,
Best
another
game.
big game. The last week of the season is going to be Jacksonville and Tennessee for the playoff
Mm,
spot.
yeah, it's
I was confused going into. Did you watch the game yesterday? I turned it on for a little bit,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
showed this how the standings are, where it really didn't matter for Tennessee. That's why nobody was playing.
Right.
And that was so
Right.
weird to me. I'd never seen anything like that.
It's weird that that particular game doesn't matter, but the next one does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about the divisions
It
in
shows
football.
how valuable that tiebreaker is.
Yeah. 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 Cowboys, I mean, it still helped the Cowboys,
Mm,
even if it's just a tune up for them. Um,
I'm not
but
impressed,
yeah, the
but we'll
Titans
see.
no. Who do the Cowboys have last?
Eagles. I think their big game is the Eagles. Or no, no, they beat the
They
Eagles
beat the
already.
Eagles, beat the Eagles last week. Let me see.
Yeah, they playing the Giants, maybe?
Mm, now the Commanders.
And that's gonna be feisty
The-
because the Commanders are fighting for a playoff spot too.
Yeah, and it's Giants and Eagles.
Hmm.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. That should be exciting. All those should be exciting. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the NBA. Obviously, uh, we have to start with the person who's been going crazy in the stats this week, last 2 weeks, and that's
Yes.
Luka. 60-20-10 game, 35, 12, 12 game. I mean, I'm saying like all the low numbers, but uh he's killing it, man. He's taking over right now. I mean, and it's really not just the 2 weeks, it's most of the season he's been taking over. I believe he was our preseason MVP pick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we both said that. So, um, and you have Dallas coming out the West. Is that still how you see it?
Mm, my confidence is not looking good. I'll say that.
Oh, whoa. So you had them coming out the West, but now Luka's playing better, and your confidence went down. And
Yeah.
he's not really playing better, but his stats are better.
He's done exactly what I asked. He looks in better shape. Like he's not
Mhm.
burning out when they get to the clutch and missing more free throws down the stretch. He's
Yeah,
still, he's making a lot more clutch shots.
yeah, yeah.
But Dallas as a whole is just so predictable.
They are predictable.
And and
That was my
honestly,
biggest
and
issue.
I haven't wanted to there's a lot of people who've quickly jumped to the comparison
Hmm.
of which team this group looks like,
Hmm.
which past team this group looks like. And I
You're on
didn't
board finally.
I didn't want to be for so long
Yeah,
because the stars are so different. The coaching is much better here, much more self-aware,
uh, okay.
at least offensively. Um,
Yeah,
but they're the Harden Rockets. Let's be honest.
they are.
And again, I've been denying it. It's been a fact for a good year now, like a good year and a half.
Yeah,
But sitting there on Christmas, and I did have a drink when this game was going on.
yeah,
But like I literally visualized Harden isoing up top, running the screen just to get the switch, isoing
yeah,
up top. Let's move it
yeah,
over. The screen didn't work right away, so let's run it again with somebody else to get another switch. So it
yeah.
kind of looks like we're doing something different, but we're still doing the same thing.
But we're still going to my left hand, probably.
Right. And the Lakers game, that Christmas game, was the perfect embodiment of what the Rockets were. They couldn't make a
Yeah,
shot in the first half, and they were getting destroyed
yeah,
by one of the worst teams in the league.
yeah.
And then the
Missing
moment
their
they
best
heat
player.
up, the moment they heat up, 50-point quarter.
Yeah,
And normally I'm the Lakers are dog shit defensively. Like, it's embarrassing. Dallas couldn't miss.
yeah. The Lakers really weren't playing that bad.
Yeah, like guys, it's not Luka getting every fucking look, so I'll live. But guys just
Yeah,
weren't missing.
right.
And that's when I was like, man, this is Houston. This is the Houston Rockets.
I like that people started. I saw on Twitter people started putting up the um Harden's MVP year. Actually, I think it was the year he didn't win it when Westbrook won it, and it was like a 5 game streak of 50-point triple doubles. They're like, "Yo, Harden did this. He's been doing this.
Yes.
Just just because he didn't go for 20 rebounds doesn't mean he couldn't get a 50-point, 60-point triple
Yes.
double every night, and he did. Uh, I think I think it's a good comparison. I think you can argue the amount of talent between the two teams. Because I don't think anyone on that Rockets team was as good as Dinwiddie. I'm talking about before Chris Paul got there. I don't think any of them are really as good as Dinwiddie or um even as pure of a shooter as Hardaway.
Yeah.
But everything else, I mean, he obviously didn't have a center that hit shots like Wood that could hit threes because it was really
Yeah.
just lobs. But now we see Luka lobbing it to guys who really aren't even like lob guys. Like Bertans caught a lob the other day. Uh um Powell catches lobs like out of nowhere so often.
Yeah.
Um and you're right, it is very similar. They don't even really bother running fast breaks. And
No,
that was something
they
that was
slow it down routinely for him.
and that was something I remember when the Rockets were the Rockets were talking about. Um that was something that people thought was weird because they're like, yo, why don't they run fast breaks? It's really just Harden run straight down the middle, and if someone happens to be running with him, they just run out to the corners, and then
Yeah.
Harden finds them or Harden gets fouled, whatever. Uh, and I'm like, man, Dallas does the same thing. They don't worry about running fast breaks. Yeah, Luka may hit somebody that's wide open down court, but it's not a you never see a 3-on-2, 2-on-1
Yeah.
fast break for them. But
I mean, honestly,
yeah.
the role players are like comparable to some extent.
They are, they are,
You know,
they definitely are. Yeah,
Finney Smith and Tucker are pretty similar, but I'm not gonna go down the list. But
yeah,
it's just I'm almost disappointed. To your point, statistically, it's not really impressing me like it's impressing the casuals, I guess.
yeah.
You know, but I thought the league like there's film on him. There's
We talk
film
about it
on
all the
him.
time.
I don't understand.
I should send that film I made out because it's
I
there.
don't
I mean,
understand how again there he's really good and
he
like
is.
small. He's gotten to the point. I don't know if he lifts. I don't know if he just understands like contact better than everybody. But it looks like he's stronger than every guard in the league.
It does, yeah.
Like it looks like over the last 2 years, he's gotten significantly stronger, and everybody else just like hasn't been able to keep up.
Because a lot of it is just is actual natural weight, and everyone else is
Right. That's
using
because I'm like, he
weight in
doesn't
the
look
gym.
any different. He doesn't really like he doesn't elevate better, or but he's just more he's better with contact.
Yeah,
But honestly, man, like they keep letting him just get to the right side of the basket.
yeah. And what a lot of people who aren't like basketball players also don't know is one of the easiest three pointers on the court is the shortest three pointer on the court for right handers is the left corner. It's money. If you're a right hander, the left corner, it should be one of the easiest
Yes.
shots in basketball. And the easiest pass to make to the left corner is from the right side of the court, from the right block. And that's where he gets. I was watching last night against the Rockets. Hardaway Jr. hit like three straight threes from the left corner because Luka got to the right block and kicked it out, and it was wide open.
Yes.
Is I don't and like you said, there's film I see it over and over. It's the same thing over and over again.
But the
I
problem
don't
is
get it.
like he's gotten so good that even if small guards try, they're at the point where they can't because he's too good posting up. He's too
Hmm.
physical. He sees the floor too well. He knows there. I mean, Dallas's spacing is so obvious to make him better.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
But again, like it often looks by design that teams are willing to switch,
Mm-hmm.
or teams are just like trying to guard him straight up with athletes. Like, have you
Mm-hmm.
not seen him play?
Yeah, and they guard him straight up, and he still makes the same choice every time. And like you said, and have you not seen him play? They never shade away from him getting to his strong hand on the picks. The one team we saw do it looked great doing it, and I haven't seen anyone else even try.
Bro,
They
why? It's
never
like the
ice
league is too
screens.
lazy to ice. Thank you.
Yes,
Like
they
the
never
league is
ice.
giving up on it.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't
Everybody just
understand it.
switches, bro. It's so gross.
Yeah, and there's still just so very few teams that are capable of actually switching everything. And I mean, right now it's probably only three teams, I would say, and they're all in the East.
And you exactly. That was where I was going, where one thing that's kept me very confident about the Mavericks is there's really no roster in the West that can strap him.
Yeah, at least not man to man. Like they could come up with a strategy, but how
Right.
they're trying to defend him, there's no one in the West.
There's
Yeah,
no one. And there's teams that like their entire roster just can't. Like
yeah,
Phoenix, nobody can. Lakers, nobody could.
right.
I mean, I'm not even sure the Warriors could at this point.
Uh, Wiggins. I mean, Wiggins did his thing last. I'll give
Yeah.
Wiggins uh the benefit of the doubt with that because the playoffs he looked great
Yeah.
when he did it, and I think Kerr will probably have a strategy. But to your point, if Wiggins isn't there, it's a wrap. There's no one else. No one else has a chance.
But this is where
Draymond can't guard
Dallas
him
is
for a
like
whole game.
high and low because Dallas could come out of the West. They showed that last year that they could just heat up and shoot whoever out of the gym.
Yeah,
Like they're showing that this year, that because they really haven't played good defense and they're slowly
right.
climbing in the standings because they've been shooting the ball way better.
Yeah, yep.
But to me, it's still, if you contain Luka, which again is a big ask, but
Hmm.
Wiggins did it. I didn't expect that. You know,
Right.
I'll throw out a surprise name, for example, for the Nuggets, Aaron Gordon.
Yeah,
He's got a good build, physical, he's disciplined, he's a good shot blocker, he moves his feet well. Again,
yeah,
this is like a hypothetical, obviously,
yeah.
but if you contain Luka, let's say you don't even strap him, you contain him,
Hmm.
Dallas' shot selection is horrible,
Yeah.
just like Houston was.
If anyone other than Luca establishes the like initiates the offense in half court, you're not gonna get a good shot. Not gonna get a good
And
shot.
two players that aren't comparable, but like kind of have similar roles would be Eric Gordon and Spencer Dinwiddie.
Hmm.
And like Dinwiddie's a little bit better because he's more of a creator. Like Gordon's just like an athletic shot taker.
Yeah.
Like Dinwiddie's more of like an isolation shot creator.
Hmm.
But again, like you see it, the ball movement dies when he
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's just as predictable to me as Luka is. He's a little bit more dynamic when you let him go left, but he's
Hmm.
always coming back to his right hand.
He is. Yep. If he goes left, it's gonna be a pull up jumper
Right. Pull
every
up
time.
or in, he's trying to scoop it past you with the right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Dallas gets stagnant so easily. And in the playoffs, I have to imagine defense will be better.
Hmm.
It normally is, especially against one man show teams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've gone back to the Kobe quote about Harden several times, so I'm not going to do it again. But like
Hmm.
one man show offenses get so stagnant.
They do. And this was my hesitation about them earlier. I mean, when we mentioned them last time, is that that is their only way to win. Luka getting a triple double, 35 triple
Yeah.
double. They don't win if he doesn't do that. And that's I know like the stat chasing era is where like guys just do that win or lose, like just showing they can do it. Yeah, Luka's shown he can do that, but at this point they rely on it so much. and the way their roster is built, the way their offense is set up, if he doesn't do that, they don't have a chance. I mean, he got the
None.
60-point triple double, 60, 20, and 12 or whatever it was, and he went to overtime with the Knicks. It's not like they did it and blew somebody out. The Knicks almost beat them. He
Oh,
would have had a
they're barely
50-point
blowing
triple double.
anybody out.
Yeah, he
Most
would
of
have had a
Dallas's
50.
games is close.
Exactly. Exactly. He was a free throw away from having a 50-point triple double in a loss to
Yeah.
Julius Randle. So it's like
That is another thing. He's much better at free throw wise.
he is. Yeah, he
Huge
is.
step up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's tough when you have teams like that where if this doesn't happen, if Luka doesn't get a triple double, we really don't have a shot to beat not a playoff team at their best. Both teams at their best. So we'll see
I
what
just,
happens.
to be honest, the stagnant offense, because it was very similar last year, even with Brunson,
Mhm.
but it looked a lot better when it's Brunson and Dinwiddie, who are both like stagnant isolation shot creators.
How do you feel about Kimba out there? I mean, defensively, that doesn't sound good with those three out there at the same time. But the little bit I've seen of Kimba,
It's
leading the
similar to
second unit has
Wood.
looked good.
It's similar to Wood. It
Hmm.
doesn't seem like a big upgrade, but I think it is.
Yeah, I think
Because
it's a huge one.
both of those guys to me are like just the kind of players they are by design. They help you not be so stagnant.
Hmm.
So that now they do have more of like a pick and roll option with Wood.
Hmm.
Kemba is another like pick and roll ball handler. He's another creator, especially he could push the ball a little bit more so you play differently.
And Kimba's a make something happen guy. Like if you're on like a weird 8-0, you're down on a I guess a 0-8 run, like the other team's on 8-0 run. Kimba's one of those guys like, all right, I need to go get a bucket, and he
Yeah,
goes and finds a shot. If it's
yeah,
not him, he makes a good play.
100%.
He's one of those guys that breaks up those runs. You don't really have a lot of teams that can get runs on a point guard like Kimba. He's a good point guard in that aspect and managing the tempo and the flow of the game. So, and I'm sure Kid knows that. And I think Kimba's minutes are going to go up as time goes on. He's still kind of getting his footing and getting into the offense for this team. So you didn't
Dallas is
mention the
one of
clip,
those teams who's going to heat up.
but
I think Dallas is going to significantly heat up.
yeah, I think so too. Yeah, they are.
They're the type of team that like they'll go on a 2 week run without any losses, or they'll get like 3 straight dominant wins against good teams.
Yeah, and I think it'll be. I think you'll different guys will emerge every night as like the
Yeah.
high scorer, other than Luca, of course. Luca would be
I
high
also
scorer every
think they'll
night.
go 6 to 7 every round,
Hmm.
regardless of even if they're a higher seed.
Very possible. Very possible. It's really, really close right now. The seating is so tight in the West. I
Yeah.
mean, it's only 20, what is it? 34 games in, so I'm not saying like it's
There's
over.
two like distinguished disappointments though in the West.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're looking at the standings, right? So
Yeah,
off
yeah,
the top of my head, I looked at them yesterday, so not too much
yeah.
changed. The Lakers are obvious. We're not talking about the fucking Lakers today.
I know where you're
Minnesota.
going with the second one. Oh,
Minnesota.
yeah. Minnesota
It's
is
bad.
gross.
It's bad.
I will say this though, for us, it's not that big of a disappointment because I feel like the Kings are a pleasant surprise. But all these other teams we had in our top 10, right?
Yeah.
We definitely had. I mean, in Portland, I guess is a surprise too. We probably thought Minnesota
Portland
would be
is a
better.
significant surprise.
We thought Minnesota would be better than Portland. Yeah.
I mean,
Everyone else,
Utah
I
is a
think
shock.
Utah's a shock, but you and I, we mentioned Utah could be good. We mentioned that they
But
could
this is
they could surprise people.
I I was prepared for this. I
Hmm.
was significantly, I was a lot more negative when we talked about this trade than you were. You were a lot more
Yeah,
glass half full, I remember.
yeah, I was. Yeah, I wasn't positive, but I wasn't negative. I was definitely
Yes,
neutral.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Bro, like his Gobert's limitations are getting exposed.
they
They've
are.
been I hate that they're getting exposed like it's a new thing. He cannot guard people.
Yeah.
Bro, do you pay like you really
Uh,
start to pay attention if you really watch, look at the guys he blocks. He doesn't block elite players routinely. He's not stopping John Morant from getting layups. He's not
he's blocking
stopping
like
Zion from getting. He'll stop Finney Smith though.
he'll
Oh,
block
he'll swat Finney Smith as shit, or
like
he'll
Javon
swat.
Carter.
Yeah, Javon Carter, get it out of here. He'll get like, and I'll give him credit. Carter's more of like a bench guy. Mikal
Yeah,
Bridges, for example, was a decent player. He'll get his shit out of here.
yeah, yeah.
Like, bro, he's not even a real rim protector.
Right now, Rudy Gobert has the second worst plus minus on the team for players who have played more than one game.
And 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 it, God, it's so bad because basically two injuries, and their rotation is non-existent.
Yeah,
And I can't help. Maybe I'm just petty, but I can't help but thinking back to the trade, like, damn, 10 guys, 10 fucking assets is a bit much.
hmm,
And now you can't put a decent rotation on the court.
can't can't. The rotation is
It's
really, really, really
horrible.
bad.
It's horrible. And deloading. Good God. Complaining about Zion being strong?
It's nuts. You're
That
averaging
was one of
three
the
turnovers
dumbest
a
things
game.
I've ever heard.
He's averaging three turnovers a game, and he's worried about
God,
guys
I
being
wish I
strong.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't need to
three
know his
turnovers.
turnover stats to know he's been fucking awful. Team has
Yeah,
no leadership on the court at all.
they don't, man. This is a horrific job by the GM, coaching staff, and whoever is supposed to be the captain of the team. If it's Towns, if it's Edwards, if it's
Who the
Russell,
fuck
whoever,
knows?
yeah, whoever's supposed to be the team leader is not doing a good job.
This is like where Towns was coming in holding Cat accountable for all the Popeyes, talking all hyping up the team, how they're gonna be a top tier duo.
That was
Okay,
one of the corniest things I've ever heard in my life, by the way.
yeah.
His little monologue about Anthony Edwards eating Popeyes. Leave him
Yeah, can my
alone.
man live, please?
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards
Good.
came into the draft looking like LeBron, dude. Like, is it really a big deal what he's eating?
He looks great. He looks
Yeah,
great.
Anthony Edwards looks like he's getting worse, and it's fucking disgusting. I was hyped about him being like the next guy. I thought he was
Yeah.
gonna ascend and take command of the West.
And he's vocal about the issues he's having with the offense.
But like Karl Anthony Towns, you get hurt and you disappear.
Hmm.
Like, again, I've been watching games without you, bro. Even when you're there, this team has no direction, no accountability in any capacity. Guys will not defend, nobody says shit. Guys won't rebound, nobody says shit. Guys will get exposed, nobody says shit. Like, are we even being coached at this point?
That's the biggest thing to me. They don't look like they're being coached at all.
Bro, their coach got it after the way they lost in the playoffs last year, and now they're this bad.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
They
Finch,
are,
I believe. I always forget his name.
yeah, Chris Finch, I believe.
Yeah.
They're 23rd in offensive rebounds with Towns and um, Rudy Gobert. They are 22nd in rebounds. 22nd? And you start two 7-footers? And you can't
And Gobert
crack the
had the
top 20?
nerve. Gobert had the nerve to say, like, like random dudes don't know what I bring to the table, but GMs know. The GM that knew just got exposed for being wrong.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, it's bad, dude. It's
Another
it's not even fun to watch them.
another crazy stat. Their four starters average 11 turnovers. Just just the four of them average 11 turnovers total.
They
Edwards
have
has
no
3.
chemistry. There's no
Ed,
chemistry here.
Edwards, Towns, and Russell average 3 each. So you get an automatic 10 turnovers every time you play uh the Timberwolves from the starters. They're
Oh,
28th in turnovers in the league. For those who don't know, that's bad. They're 28th, so they're the top 3 worst turnover teams in the NBA right now.
the team that was second place last year was only in second place because of turnovers.
Yeah.
Boston
Yep.
Celtics would be the defending champions if it wasn't for turnovers.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
the chemistry's so bad. Forget like deloading looks horrible. You don't really have a fifth starter.
No, you don't.
Jaden McDaniels should never dribble in his life.
It's not his game at all.
Most of those other guys, Noel, Nas Reed, who I like, is like forcing shots every night. He's like trying to do
Yep.
shit he shouldn't be doing every night.
Yep. It it makes it really bad because I actually like basically everyone else they have on that roster. It's just for some reason it doesn't work with
You know
this.
who
It's
I
not
also
working.
liked? The five guys they fucking traded.
I loved Vanderbilt. Love Vanderbilt. Um, we can just go down the line, but they traded and they didn't get enough of it back. Like they should have at least got Sexton back in the three-way trade, at least.
And this is where
But
you need like you see the loss of Pat Bev.
yeah,
Like
as
Pat
little as
Bev,
it mattered, it
for
was
as awful
mattered a
as
lot.
or as trash as he is, he keeps you focused on being competitive.
He does, absolutely.
And I don't see that with this team.
No. The team got older and looks younger. They look less mature than they were last season, at least in the playoffs of last season, which yeah, Towns didn't play great, but as a team, it looks like one of those turning point moments for the team. It looked like all right, you guys took a fat L here. Let's
Yeah.
come back next season and they're gonna come back on a mission to correct their mistakes, to come out off season, work on what they're missing and get it right. And they pretty much did the opposite.
Yeah, man. This is a failure because this was a good playoff team and they should have
Yeah.
taken a major step forward and they did the opposite.
Yep. Yep. Season's not over. They have a chance to do
Yeah.
better. And like I said, the West
I
is so
wouldn't be
tight.
surprised if they snuck into the play-in, especially when Towns
Yeah.
gets back.
Yeah, especially with some of the other injuries too. A lot of these teams are dealing with injuries.
I mean,
They might have a
will
shot.
can deloading play for more than a month at a time?
Probably not.
It
Probably not.
doesn't based on his career, I don't think so.
Edwards is the only consistent player they have as far as minutes and health. And we're worried about what he eats. Worried about him eating a two piece and a biscuit. And he's the
Hey,
only guy
Popeyes
who
is good. I don't care. I don't care what Carl
yeah,
Anthony Towns says.
right. And he's the only one that I've seen play every game. Every time I've seen the Timberwolves playing, he's the only person I've never like watched Timberwolves game and him be out. Everyone else has missed games. So it's like
Yeah. They're
worry
just
about yourself first.
they lack leadership. That's their biggest
Big
thing
time.
right now. I don't even want them to fix any of their problems until we can establish who their leader is going to be.
This is one of those teams also that not having a really experienced head coach is kind of rough.
Going,
It's one of those teams like I could imagine George Carl would like people would want him to coach this team because he's one of those guys who's used to babysitting or whatever. Babysitting, he would say. But like not having someone who has been around and dealt with a lot of personalities and dealt with kids and um when I say kids, I mean younger players. immature players, rookies, developing players. A lot of coaches have dealt with good players, but they're good when they got there, and they're not
Yeah.
teams that you have to live through and develop and teach and everything. Like Dwayne Casey is doing a great job in Detroit. He's one of those guys where I would say
Well,
maybe this
not
is
the
a
other
team
night,
where,
but yeah.
yeah. And I don't mean a great job as far as record, but developing guys. I see guys getting better every time they play, but like
And
Timberwolves,
Dwayne
everyone's
Casey,
gotten worse.
every Detroit team has gotten better over the course of that year.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And Timberwolves can't say that about right now.
No,
Not yet, at
it's not
least.
looking good at all.
It's not. Um, let's go to the number 1 seed in the West. New Orleans Pelicans are officially the number 1 seed.
Yeah, they're a
I
game
guess
ahead now,
technically,
or is it still
technically they're
tied?
tied. Technically they're tied with Denver, but I don't know who. I don't know if they have a tiebreaker between them. I'm not sure, but they're
Hmm.
tied with Denver for number 1. Uh, Zion is playing like the player that they dreamed he would be.
Yeah.
And he probably. I mean, obviously he could get better. I don't remember the exact percentage, but I saw on TV they were saying he has one of the highest percentages of shots in the paint of his points come in the paint for a non-center, which is spectacular because he's
Yeah.
been going crazy. Right now, New Orleans is third in points per game. They're sixth in rebounds. They're fifth in assists per game, which is, I mean, that's amazing. Those are amazing to be top six in basically every category on offense. Um, so they're rolling, man,
I mean,
rolling.
I can't
And no
say either
Ingram.
of us are surprised by this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think we mentioned again earlier this season. We were saying, I think it was preseason. We were saying if there was one team that we thought could be number 1 seed and wouldn't be shocked, it would be New Orleans. And man, I can't remember his name right. Willie Green is my he was my preseason coach of the year pick.
Yeah.
So
That's looking
we're
like
not
more
shocked.
and more of a lock with every week.
Yeah, yeah, it looks really, really good. So we're not shocked, but for those who are shocked, uh there's not a lot of teams with more depth that consistently contributes. Like everybody who comes in on New Orleans comes in and
For a
does what they're
purpose.
supposed to do. Yes. They come in,
Yes.
like you said, with a purpose. Everybody. And again, they haven't had Ingram really a consistent Ingram for months. Like
McCollum has played so much better the last like few weeks.
yeah, he's played really, really, really good. Really good. Ingram's only played 15 games for them this year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And they're eating.
Their depth is phenomenal.
It is, man.
Their
It is. They
depth
have
is top
guys.
tier.
They have guys on the bench, way down the bench that
Yes.
I think I don't know why teams aren't calling for every night, which they might be, but
Yeah.
Pelicans are using them right, man.
You know what they don't like? We often talk during games, and we'll kind of like criticize what we like, what we don't like.
Yeah,
And I hate when I have to talk to you about like a guy who shouldn't be out there.
yeah, yeah.
I hate that. And what I love about this team is they don't put guys like that on the court.
They don't. I'm not sure if they have any on the roster, to
And
be
I love
honest.
that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Yep. And I think Willie Green looks at these guys and finds something they can do.
Yeah.
Everybody. All
I
the way
just
down the line.
I wonder if Zion can stay out of foul trouble in the playoffs.
Hmm.
I think he's very physical, so there's going to be like in the playoffs we're going to get like 5 to 10 situations of charge or block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we get to like more disciplined teams, or at least teams I expect to be disciplined,
Hmm.
more likely than not, they're going to take those charges.
Yeah. I agree, but at that point, I think even if he is in foul trouble, I should say, once they get Ingram back, it won't be as big of a deal for him to be out the game. Like now,
They're
it's
a
he's
clear-cut
the only
favorite to me.
scorer.
I hate saying it because they're like they've taken the contending step just now. Like this is them taking it,
Yeah,
but they're flawless right now. There's nothing to criticize here at all.
yeah, it really isn't. No.
Like they're playing. This is what when Phoenix last year before the playoff disaster was just winning, winning, winning. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
You know, like their chemistry is impeccable. Obviously,
Yep.
they look a lot more dynamic than Phoenix did. Their potential looks a lot better than Phoenix's did.
Yep.
But again, it's the chemistry is the biggest thing for me.
Chemistry is amazing, and
Just been flawless.
their defense is just so. Now, talk about a team that can switch everything. Like other than CJ, Herb Jones,
Yes.
Najee Marshall, Dyson Daniels. I mean, I kind of like what Larry Nance does when he guards, more movable guards. Trey Murphy the third. Those five guys switch so well. I mean, they're so long, they're so athletic, they play hard defense, and then throw Ingram on there, and there's not many guys that Zion can't, stay in front of you. If you go past him, you better dunk it because
Yeah.
he's gonna catch you. Jackson Hayes is gonna catch you. It's just like you
Their
said. There's
depth.
no negatives, no
None.
negatives to the depth. Yeah, yeah,
This is a team like it's going to be awkward because we're going to get to the playoffs and like we have had talked about them significantly less than Denver, than
mhm.
obviously the Lakers, probably the Clippers, any of these potential playoff teams. We're going to have to talk more because there's more to criticize.
Yeah. There is.
Kind of
There
like
absolutely
Memphis
is.
last year. Memphis is making we're just winning all year. The only thing to really shout out was that they were winning without Ja.
Right.
And
Right.
it's kind of the same thing here. Like when they're winning without Ingram, do you have any doubt they could win without Zion?
No, no doubt.
None. Like
It
maybe
they
they're
definitely
not a
can.
championship contender without him, but
Hmm.
winning games, not a problem.
Yeah. 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 They just have so much firepower, and they look like just someone else would just step up next game, and that's fine. No big
Absolutely.
deal. Yeah. Yep. Okay. We have another team in the West to talk about, don't we? Did we already talk about 'em?
Denver, we wanted to talk about, I think.
Yeah, let's talk about Denver. How do you like Denver right now?
Well, they're one of my stars aligning teams as far as
Hmm.
the Western Conference goes with the health. So
Yeah.
just from that point, I'm very happy to see them at full strength.
Yeah.
Uh I mean, Jokic is just it's gotten like it doesn't even surprise you how good he is at this point.
Yeah.
Um they're another team to me. If they're healthy, they're flawless.
Yeah, man. They're super tough. I mean, Jokic is again when it comes to stats and how to get stats, he's doing it. I mean, he's killing it. Whatever he
Yeah.
has to do for the team to win, he fills the stat sheet. I still have my same reservations about them that I've had. Uh, but it's hard to argue with how they're playing. Bruce
I just think
Brown has
some
been
of
the
the
surprise of the year for me.
yeah, Bruce has been great, and they've like flipped between him starting and him being the sixth man.
Hmm.
Uh, but their roster is kind of like it's finally perfectly constructed
For Jokic, it is. Yeah.
for Jokic. Like Murray obviously has been a great fit.
Yeah.
Porter looks like he's gonna be, if he's healthy, he's gonna fit everywhere he plays for his
Yeah.
entire career. The way he shoots the ball, it's not gonna be a problem.
Yep. Yep.
But like Gordon gives him such a good balance because he has a good awareness of like where I should shoot the ball from.
Hmm.
Right? Like if we're not shooting well, I'm not trying to fix that.
Right.
If we're getting the ball inside, like now I'm playing off of everybody. KCP is a
Hmm.
guy who what you would expect to be a volume shooter, but never really shoots too much.
Right.
And
Right.
their bench plays through Bones Highland, who's creative.
Very creative.
Yeah, and he's a
Very
fun
creative.
player, and I think their bench kind of feeds off his energy. And maybe it
Mhm.
makes him a little kind of high and low, but they play Malone balances his starters minutes out to to the point where their second unit is not out there too long.
Mhm.
That even if their bench is a little more limited, it's not a weak link to me.
When Bones Highland is out there, they almost play kind of like how we mentioned, like the Luka offense, where it's just like, hey, let's get Christian Brown out there. Let's put Davon Reed, Bruce Brown, Jeff
Jeff
Green, and
Green,
let's just
yeah,
spread the floor and let Bones just cook, do high pick and rolls with DeAndre Jordan. And then like everyone else is just out there just to see if they can get open shots or cuts. And it's just
yeah,
Bones doing his thing. And obviously that's a second unit we're talking about. I'm not saying Bones is gonna go get triple doubles, but it's so one person based. It's so surrounded by Bones and whatever he does, fueling the entire offense.
yeah,
It's easy. It looks easy for them.
yeah,
And like you said, they rotate in and out so well. Bruce Brown plays like everything. I don't even know. I mean, we kind of talked about that last season for the Nets with him. He was a utility guy, but for this team, he's playing point guard. He's all of a
yeah,
sudden he has like this dunk contest level bounce out of
yeah.
nowhere.
He's
Like,
athletic. Yeah, he used to punt it. He used to flush like the pick and rolls they did last year, and I always thought
yeah,
it was like fluke. I'm like, maybe he's just nobody contesting it, so it's a lot of space in there.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
this year he's like driving himself, not just rolling and catching it. He's driving himself and punching it on people.
Yeah, and last year he would just a lot of times just quick drop ins, maybe a little ring pull here and there. But
Yeah,
like now he's like if someone's there, he's dunking it on people.
yeah,
Like he's going for dunks. So it's spectacular. They have a really really fun team, which we've always kind of thought the potential of them being fun. Um their starting five is, as you mentioned, is pretty much flawless.
yeah,
I I will say my reservations with them still is, and this is, you can accuse me of being nitpicky with them. I feel like I have been for years at this point, but the same thing is Jokic dominates the ball. They almost he dominates the ball a lot, but to the point where I never feel like I'm getting the best game out of anybody but Jokic. And when it comes to playoffs and when you're playing against good teams that have multiple guys that can have their best game at the same time, Denver struggles in that. And I don't think Jokic does it on purpose, but I think it's just how their offense is set up. Like for instance, Steph can get 45 and Poole could have his career high, and the Warriors won't
yeah.
look out of Warriors play to do that, right?
Hmm.
Clay can get 37 and a quarter, Steph could have 50 and it wouldn't look crazy. But for Jokic to have a good game, which he always does, it's always going to be a 20-point close to triple double, 30-point close to triple double. For anyone else to get 30 in that, it's it takes like so much out of the rest of the game for them.
Yeah,
And and not that they have to do that because the team's good enough that they can be balanced, but I think that when you're talking about contenders, that doesn't happen that often with contenders where you see that for someone else to have a really good game, the team is going to have to be completely out of whack.
yeah.
Someone else to go off.
And honestly, like when they get to the playoffs, I almost wish that Jokic sometimes would completely commit to the like playing through me.
Hmm.
Like, you know what? You know what? Let's say their big is over helping, or he's doing something wrong that I could get a lot of looks. I'm shooting
Yeah.
30 times today.
Hmm.
To your point, his stats always look good. I wish there was more of like, I'm going for the kill. And maybe today I took too many shots, but like next time I'll give you 60 if you give me those same looks.
Right. Yeah.
But he often tries to like he tries to dictate the balance.
He
And
does,
there'll
and
be times when he'll only shoot or only pass.
yes,
And
yeah,
that kills the momentum a lot of times for me.
it does, and even though you're right, where he should sometimes just take over scoring wise and not, let's say, all right, I may only get 2 assists today. I may only get 2 rebounds because I'm taking jumpers. We don't want to come out here. I'm going to take some jump shots. I'm going to take floaters, whatever. That's just what we're going to do. Malone has to account for that. And I think that's why he doesn't do it that much, because if he does it now, Porter Jr., who's the second tallest guy in the team, I mean, that plays a lot, he's still going to be 30 feet away from the basket, and Jokic
Yeah,
is going to be taking jumpers. No one's going to move any different if he decides to do that. So Malone has to say, all right, if that's what we're going to do, let me get DeAndre in there. You play the four, or let me move Porter Jr. down to the block, because Porter Jr. can post up any guard. I mean, and
100%.
he just doesn't, because Jokic is there. It's like everyone else has to play where Jokic isn't, instead of saying, Jokic, you play here, and everyone else, fill up a different spot where
Yeah.
he can actually be a scoring threat. So that's something, and only reason I have no confidence in that is because he hasn't done it. Malone hasn't done it with Jokic thus far, the last 4 or 5 years, where Jokic has been eating with a really solid team. But um,
I also don't like teams
mhm,
run them out the gym too much. And not that they get blown out, but
yeah,
they struggle playing up and down.
they do. Yeah,
And that to me, like it's not like Jokic is too fucking slow. I know it kind of looks like it, but it's not like he's always behind in these situations. They seem to just struggle. I haven't really been able to pinpoint because it kind of changes from game to game, but
well,
they're really not a
what
good transition team like they should be.
what I've noticed with that, and you're talking about on offense
Yeah.
or on defense. On offense, what
It's
I've
kind of
noticed is
both,
because
honestly, to be honest.
on offense, I notice it because guys wait for Jokic to come get the ball instead of just running it up court, or Jokic just rim running. How often do you see Jokic rim running? Like, if someone else
Never.
gets the rebound,
Well,
Jokic just take off.
maybe like 10% of the game.
Yeah, and that's not enough to play against some of these teams that go up and down. That's what one thing that makes the Warriors so elite. Whoever gets the rebound just takes off. Like, if it's Steph, we're going. If it's Clay, we're going. If it's Poole, if it's Draymond, if it's Looney, Looney will at least bring it to half court before he
Yeah.
passes it to somebody. But a lot of times, Michael Porter Jr. gets the rebound, he holds it. Where's Jokic? Murray gets the rebound, he's the point guard, he holds it. Where's Jokic? It's like, can we, like, let's
Yeah. Just
go?
go. Let's just get up court. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, Jokic, if Jokic is the furthest from the basket, on the play, Jokic could be the first guy to the other basket, and there would be no one there that could guard him. It would just be a catch, turn, and lay up. But he comes to the ball so often, and that slows their offense down so much. And then all these guys are down there open, maybe waiting for Jokic to get the ball before they can get a pass, instead of just saying,
That,
"Look, let's just push it." And they
that's why
don't
there's
do that
so
with
many
Bones.
there's so many situations Bones will push the ball and then reset it because there's nobody
Yeah,
there. There's no
nope,
numbers.
nobody's there, and that happens a lot. And a lot of times, it's really only Bruce Bound that ever is down court. Like,
Yeah.
hello, I'm wide open.
Bruce and Jeff normally run. They're the exceptions.
Because they're the two guys that should never be bringing the ball up court, unless
Right.
they say Bruce Brown is the point guard for the night. But Jokic just plays point. And that's the thing. What, what coach would have their slowest player? There's no disrespect to Jokic, but he's their slowest player. Be the guy that has to get the ball on the break, on the transitions. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, all these are like marginal playoff problems for them. Obviously, they're going to be
they
a
are.
top 3, 4 seed.
Yeah, regular season.
Uh,
This isn't. We're talking about playoff. We're talking about against elite other teams, right? When we talk about this stuff, all of the stuff we talk about today isn't like Nuggets are gonna have a hard time doing this against Detroit, or like when they play San Antonio, they're gonna
Right.
wish Jokic got up court. No, they're gonna blow those teams out no matter what they do. So it's but we're talking
Yeah.
about when they play teams like the Clippers, the Warriors, the Memphis, the Grizzlies. Those teams, you gotta bring it because the Grizzlies are running up court every time,
Yep.
no matter what.
Pelicans,
You
the Pelicans getting up and down too.
you think how often have you seen John Morant like catch the ball in transition, like he catches it in the front court already because he just
Yeah.
takes
One
off.
dribble, he's at the rim.
Yeah, and it's like whoever gets the rebound, look up court. There's Ja. I never see that. Have you seen Murray get a breakaway layup, breakaway dunk?
No. No.
No, it doesn't
And
happen with
I
team.
think they do it as a duo a lot too. Like how it used to be without Murray, where it would be just Jokic running everything. Now
Yeah.
it's and it used to be like this back in their bubble run
Hmm.
where it's everybody else just get out the way and it's like 2v2 with Murray and Jokic for like the last 8 minutes of a game.
Yeah, they did that against that Jazz in the Jazz
Yeah.
series where Murray and Mitchell were averaging like 45 a game.
But again,
Like,
the X factor is Murray is getting healthy. So
yeah,
you
he
might
is.
get away with, maybe if he's right by playoff time, you could get away with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just stat and you limit how good your roster is.
Exactly. That is my only problem with them. They
Yes.
could they really if they got Porter Jr. like a consistent amount of looks every night, they could average more
Good
points than
looks.
good looks. They could average more points than probably any team that has ever played in the NBA.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I really believe that. Because Jokic could average 40, Murray could average 30, and Porter could average 30. They'd be like the Thunder.
Yeah.
With Westbrook, Harden, and Durant. Like they would average 80 points a game just for their starters.
Yeah.
And they might do that, but they never get as much as they could get with how they play. Um but that's their problem. Other teams need not worry about that because they're just better off with those guys uh not having huge games. But that's one thing that's interesting about them. I'm surprised they haven't changed at this point. Because I know I'm not the only one that sees that.
Yeah, shout out to Denver though, man. Despite all the reservations we might have, they're a very fun team to watch. Like they tend to make games competitive even when they
Yes.
struggle. They
Yeah.
sometimes play down to the competition, but again, their games are fun. They
Hmm.
often come down to like a crazy last shot or last situation. I mean, the Aaron Gordon dunk was crazy to win
Yep.
the game.
Murray hit a game winner on
Yeah.
Portland not too long ago. Like him and Damian trading last second shots.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
yeah,
I could
Murray is
see
a
that in the
big time
playoffs.
player.
I will be so hyped. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Murray is one of the like underrated for how big, light, big spotlight kind of guy he is. He doesn't get enough credit for that, in
Yeah.
my opinion. When the lights are big and when it's a big game, Murray is showing up every single time.
And
So
that's why if he's healthy, him and Jokic, regardless of their problems, could walk them to the conference finals.
yeah, yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact. Um, any East teams you want to talk about?
I'll give you a parallel since we just talked Denver and their kind of dynamic duo has struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
A team in the East is also going through this. So I'll give you, I'm assuming you'll figure it out.
Okay.
Talented roster,
Yeah.
supposed contender.
Yeah.
They have a elite duo.
Okay.
Who am I thinking of? Not Matt.
Uh.
To give you more of a hint, because of how stagnant their dynamic duo is, very similar to Denver, they
Okay.
do not maximize their roster.
76ers.
Yes.
It's so bad, man. It's
Bro,
so bad.
okay. So Aaron Gordon sometimes isn't involved. KCP, any of the Denver guys, just like sometimes they're not really in the game.
Yeah.
I never look at them and think like, well, wow, maybe he just shouldn't be out there. Like maybe he sucks.
Yeah.
Bro, Philly puts like their entire rotation in a position to look that bad.
They do.
Like, okay,
They do.
PJ Tucker is a matchup guy. That doesn't mean he matches up without help.
Right.
Like, bro, PJ Tucker is sending guys to the help that's not there all the time.
Right.
You
Yeah.
paid Tobias Harris $120 million. He looks like a bomb.
It's been years now, and we haven't seen team get consistent, like any consistency out of Tobias, like
Why?
since he
Why is
left
he even
Clippers.
starting? Why do you even start him if he doesn't touch the ball?
I don't get it, man. I don't.
It's
I don't.
bad, man. It's bad. Like, okay, Niang is playing better. I'll give it to him. But
He
none of
is.
their other, like, Melton is playing well in spite of the fact that he's taking a lot of bad shots.
But should Niang be the third most consistent player on the team? Like by any means?
No.
That's basically what's happening. That's the worst part of it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's so bizarre. Shake Milton averages like all-star numbers as a starter, yet he looks disgusting coming off the bench half the time. He looks like
Yeah.
because Tyrese Maxey's hurt, I have to assume point guard duties.
I can't believe he
Shake,
even averages 11 points a game.
Tyrese never really played point guard. Why are you trying to
Right.
be one?
Right. Yeah.
And so we
I
get to
forgot
their
they even had
duo.
Montrezl
Yeah,
court
he plays
mass.
the minutes I thought Niang should play.
Yeah.
But you get to their duo, who are obviously elite. Harden is back. Embiid is an MVP front runner, of course.
Yeah.
But there's no chemistry.
None at all.
I talked about this early in the year with Maxey, where it's like, okay, like by default, because Maxey has just been so good, like you have to incorporate him somehow. And
Hmm.
it was literally Embiid like, okay, I won't ISO, I'll just give it to you.
Hmm.
But now without him, it's just Harden and Embiid.
There's no movement in their offense at all.
None, bro. They run
It
that
drives me
disgusting
insane.
pick and roll. Again, like I described with Dallas, we're running the pick and roll just to get the switch.
Yep.
Maybe 3 times a night we'll hit the roll man. Maybe we'll play the Rockets and they won't play any defense that night and Harden will
Yeah.
get 22 assists.
Right.
Maybe, but that's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, and it just doesn't make sense when you have such a good rollman, you have good
Yes.
pick and pop guys, you have good floor spreaders, you have good cutters, and you pretty much always have the size advantage. I mean, with between Tobias, even though Thibault doesn't play much, Berkmaz doesn't play much, House, Harrell, Niang, you have the size advantage. All those guys are versatile in size.
All
It's
those
like,
guys are 6'8" plus.
yeah, and they all cut well, all of them. They all pick him. I mean, Harold doesn't pick and pop well, but everyone else pick and pops really well, and they don't even use it.
Yeah. And the
It's just spot up
disgusting thing about
shots.
it is Harden is falling back to Houston James.
He is, yeah,
Everything is with the ball. I don't cut. I don't space the floor.
hmm,
I'm making all the fucking guard decisions. I'm hitting all the assists.
yep.
Or we just ISO Embiid.
And the worst part is he doesn't even do the Houston James. Like Doc doesn't even have the Houston James Harden like set up right. Like
No. It's
I
just
haven't seen
it's high
lobs.
up top. We're just calling it up top. The spacing sucks. And
Yeah,
like we've talked about this a lot. Okay, Tobias is like 0 for 3 every fourth quarter. You can't
yeah,
get him more than 3 looks with 2
yeah.
all-stars on the court. Tobias Harris can't get more than 3 looks.
And two of them are always threes. Like he can't get a short corner mid range is his shot. Like he's been
He
making that
doesn't get
shot
any
forever.
mid-ranges. He's just a
He doesn't get
three-point
mid range.
specialist now.
He doesn't get a good post up when he's 6'9" and like there's guards playing and they just let guards just check him. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
I haven't seen any lobs to Montrezl. I haven't seen any backdoors to Dybul. all I see is pick and pop kickouts to Niang is like the only thing that I see every night from them. Everything else is like, oh, maybe we hit house on the baseline cut.
Yeah.
Maybe we hit uh the Anthony Melton on the pin down, maybe. Everything else is maybe.
I mean, House has looked trash for them.
Absolutely. And
He
they
looks
keep
horrible. He
Doc
looks like he's never been coached in his life.
Doc just keeps putting him out there. He gets 17 minutes a night.
No, this team is entirely on Doc's hands.
It is.
And I won't blame another soul on this roster when we get into the playoffs and they get exposed.
I I agree. And at this point, if Doc is worried about Harden, like if it's a situation where Doc doesn't want to um overstep because Harden is out there, then Doc has to go. And we got to get someone that can talk Harden's language, someone that can actually enforce what they actually want to do strategy wise. Because
Yeah.
if it's a situation where it's like, hey, I don't want to Embiid and Harden make the big money, I don't want to lose my job over it. Well, you're gonna lose your job if you don't start winning games, no matter what. So
The problem is they have kind of started winning enough to where it's not like we're not going to be questioning Doc's actual job all year.
but they win the games that only win the games they're supposed to win.
Barely. They
Yeah,
barely win those.
and listen to these stats. They are second in opponents' points per game, which is fantastic, right?
Right.
But they're 21st in points per game. They're 29th in rebounds. They're second to last in rebounds.
Another
And you have
team
the best center in the game.
29th in rebounds.
And they have the best center in basketball.
Like, this is the point I was making on Christmas where, okay, you're eating on Mitchell Robinson, but you're not boxing anybody out.
Nope.
Early in the year, San Antonio, Jakob Poeltl was getting putbacks. Fourth
Yeah.
quarter crunch time putbacks.
Yep.
Guys routinely fly in and Embiid is bitching like, y'all don't box out. Neither do
Yeah,
you.
and using, like, I know Niang has been hitting threes, but using him as a, spot up shooter takes away the other things he does, right? Like, he's still a power forward. I understand he hits a lot of threes and he's a good pick and pop guy, but power forwards still need to get us some rebounds. And he's just
Bro, if you really break it down, if you simplify it, everybody on the roster besides their two star players and Maxey are just 3-point threats.
Niang averages 2 rebounds a game.
And he
Montrezl
plays
averages
six-man
2.7.
minutes.
Yeah. I mean, right now, D'Anthony Melton averages more rebounds than Niang, House, Harrell, and PJ Tucker.
And he's
So
and this it's so obvious because Melton, the only guy who's been an elite spot up shooter, is thriving.
yeah.
And Melton, I mean, they're sucking him in the Christmas game. Again,
Mm-hmm.
he's like 6 for 6 at one point. They were all contested.
They were.
They were all contested. So I'm like, okay, I trust Melton to take those too. Like we both liked him. Everybody liked him
Yeah.
when they picked him up. He's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
player.
He is. Yeah.
But you're having him out there as just a 3-point threat.
Right. It's
Like
not it.
you're
It's not gonna work.
limiting his good decision making.
And
And
you have him
that's
out
the
there as a
problem.
6'2",
Everybody's just out there just shooting the ball. Nothing
and
else.
they have him out there as a 6'2" small forward most of the time. Like how they use him because he like does the baseline runs to get a 3-point, but it's like I have Harden and Maxey out there. What position is everyone at?
I'm telling you, Doc, I think Doc is letting Harden and Embiid dictate more and more of what they run.
I agree. I
It
agree.
honestly looks like Harden has, like, over the course of the last month, has kind of seen like basic shit that works for him, and he's just like, let's just keep feeding that.
Yeah.
And the amount of times he walks off the screen only to try to get the switch.
Yeah.
You would think
Yeah.
like you just got 20 assists and 15 of them were to Embiid. Like, bro, actually run the pick and roll.
Yeah.
But nope,
Yeah.
it's just stagnant. Similar to at least with Denver, like Jokic's shot selection isn't as horrible as with Harden and Embiid.
Right. And the other thing is a lot of times Harden just drives into the paint and like hopes he gets fouled. And that's
Embiid
just
does that too.
yeah, they do. Yeah, and there's no one else there. And they're really not that fast to get back on defense. Even though, I mean, their opponent's points per game is kind of a flawed stat because it's really about pace because they take forever to get shots off. Harden dribbles the ball for 20 seconds per possession, so the team doesn't even get the ball enough to
Yes.
score a lot of points. So I don't know, man. I don't know how they fix it at this point without like completely changing their offense.
No, they're
But
feeding into everything that won't be sustainable in the playoffs.
it's fact.
And when they
Very
get
big
exposed,
fact.
it's going to be the same. Like the memes, there's going to be lists of Doc's failures, and with this new one at the fucking bottom,
Yeah, it
and
will.
they're going to
Yeah.
have the clip of him talking about check my resume. Like, Doc, your resume makes you look bad.
Yeah, they're gonna have two Hall of Famers on the team, two MVP candidates,
Let's
and
keep it a stack. Let's keep it a stack, Doc. KD gets his championship rings get discredited.
yeah,
Doc, you had like 3 Hall of Famers in the starting lineup. Your championship ring is discredited. You haven't made
yeah,
it to the conference finals since.
yeah, yeah,
Since. And you had again 3 Hall of Famers and a potential Hall of Fame point guard.
yeah. He had three Hall of Famers for the Clippers.
And couldn't get out the second round.
Yeah,
More of the same. 2 potential Hall of Famers here. Not looking good for the
yeah,
second year in a row.
yep, yep,
3rd year in a row. I mean, Harden just got there, but
yeah. Um, let's see. I think that's good for today. You have any more anything you want to talk about? Like you have to talk about today?
no, not today.
Yeah, I think we come back in the next year. Talk
East,
about the other
I'm
teams.
disappointed in the Eastern Conference, but we'll get into that over the next month.
Me too, man. There's some teams.
Very.
There's three teams in particular. I'm just like, I'm, I'm disgusted by how bad they're playing. But you know, I think everyone should know the three teams already. I don't have to say them, but I don't understand. One of
All
them
they all
can't
wear
get
red.
healthy.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, we haven't even agreed on it yet, and I know who you're talking about.
They all, they do all wear red. Yeah, they all wear red, and one of them wears pink sometimes for some reason. That's an argument for another
They're
day.
number
But
one on my list too. And
still
one of the
understand.
teams is garbage. One of the other teams is garbage in the standings, and
Yeah,
they're still not as it's still not as concerning as this team that wears pink.
yeah. The other two teams aren't really healthy. The team that wears pink has been healthy enough to be better than they are.
And they're climbing the insignificant standings for them.
Yeah, they are.
But
Yep.
again, there'll be Eastern Conference deep dives over the next certain episodes.
Yeah. Yep. So, thank you for listening. Thank you everyone for listening throughout this year.
Yeah.
Our podcast stats look great. Um, thanks for following us. We need more engagement. Hit us up with topics, questions, anything like that. No Clue Podcast on Instagram. Um, follow us, subscribe, everything, and we'll see you guys next year.